Welcome to week 3 of our fall 2020 vocal lesson series. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit about breath and breath support. So whenever we give voice lesson instruction, I feel like we are covering 3 sort of general categories that have to do with singing well in a vocal production. The first one has to do with shape. So how we shape our instrument, the vocal tract, the mouth, how we use our articulators and our resonance chambers. So we will give instruction like lifting the palate or opening the throat. All of those instructions are geared towards shape. Secondly, we talk about breath flow. So our breath is always coming from our low in our body and flowing through and out to the audience. So breath always from here to there. Always. So even when we are lifting the palate and creating maybe a taller shape, we're not putting the breath back into the shape. We're still concentrating on breath flowing through the vocal tract out towards the audience. And finally, matters of breath support, how we are using the body to ensure that we are getting efficient use of the breath. A lot of times we'll run out of breath while singing a phrase and we'll think, oh, I didn't take a big enough breath, or I don't have enough air, or we'll feel like there's something wrong with our lung capacity. When in truth, most problems having to do with lack of breath have to do with support. We're just not using our breath efficient enough in order to make it through the phrase. We get little leaks. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to breathe in and out, which sounds sort of silly and basic because we do that all day long pretty unconsciously. However, because we are so automatic about it, because it's instinctual, we often haven't spent the amount of time that we need in order to really think deeply and to be able to control our breath in the right kinds of ways. So I want to introduce you to an exercise that I call open, breathe in, breathe out. It seems really simple at first. Basically, all I want you to do is open your mouth, breathe in, and breathe out. The problem is that most of us have been conditioned to breathe in as we open our mouth. So we end up getting this action. What that creates are some problems that have to do with vowel shaping. So if I was singing, I might be shaping my mouth while I was moving, while I was trying to sing a phrase. I might still be opening my mouth. The other thing is it doesn't teach us is how to release the muscles in our abdomen in order to be able to draw in a breath with our muscles, and not low muscles rather than high muscles. So what I want you to do right now is practice just opening your mouth and sitting there without thinking anything about breath. So just, and I want you to watch your breath flow as you just sit for a minute with your mouth open. And I'll just let you do that for a couple seconds. You can even pause the video. The next thing, and you can keep practicing while I keep talking. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to, from that open mouth position, draw in a breath that almost feels like a vacuum, or I like to say kind of like Darth Vader sounding breath through an awe-shaped space, drawing breath in and then releasing the breath out, and then drawing breath back in without changing the shape of our instrument at all. And so what we will end up getting is And one of the things that you will notice when you're doing it right is that that air is pretty concentrated, and we could find that we could exhale on that breath for quite a long time. In fact, the more you do it, the more I like to challenge you to see how long you can exhale. So exhale on a count of 5, on a count of 10, on a count of 15, and just see how efficiently you can learn to release that breath, or how concentrated you could make that breath as you release it through an open throat, through a space with a lifted palate here, and without any obstruction from your articulators like your jaw, your tongue, or your lips. So if you're having trouble coordinating that first open without breathing in, which a lot of new singers have trouble with that, this is some advice that I have. take a breath in through the nose, and then you're going to open on a paw where you exhale. Then you'll have breath out with your mouth open. So this will look like this. And out. One of the things that you may notice is that I shifted my position while I was doing it. I realized just in looking at the video that I wasn't really in a great singing position. So I just made an adjustment, which I would challenge you to do if you're doing this exercise. Take a moment, think about, is this a position I would sing from? One of the things I also want you to notice is, maybe this is the second or third time you're watching this video, is you're probably noticing not a lot of movement happening at the upper part of my body. So I'm not lifting as I'm breathing. There's no jerking when I move from the exhalation, so, from inhalation to exhalation. Sometimes you'll see you'll find your body jerks a little bit. So I want you to begin to pay attention to those things. And when you see them, ask yourself, what is causing it? Where's the tension and how can I let it go? Some of this is coordination issues and it will be a challenge. And so I just want you to start thinking about it. Start thinking about, why can I not just open my mouth, breathe in and breathe out? Part of that is that we want to be able to access the lower part of our body and to be able to expand in and then allow air to go out. So the next thing I want you to think about is the Italians use this word called appoggio to refer to breath support. It literally translates as to lean. And we're leaning against the abdominal wall more or less with our breath. So sometimes we think about, like, if we fill up a balloon. Here we go. I have my balloon here all filled up. As the air goes out from the balloon, we assume that it will collapse and then there will be no air left. But if we sing like that and we allow the place where we filled up with air to just collapse, we won't have anything to support the phrase we're trying to sing. We won't be getting any energy back from the energy we're putting in, which is what we want to have happen. That's the leaning process, leaning into our body for support so that we can get a slightly more efficient use of our breath. So what I want you to think about, and there's an exercise for this, if you lay down on the ground, and you can watch this or maybe sort of take a second and lay down while I'm speaking and give this a try. You're going to need a couple books. I would say a couple books for behind your head, and you want a book for your belly. So maybe a big book like a dictionary, something with a little bit of weight to it, or a couple stack of stable books would be good. And lay on your back with the books underneath your head for neck support, and you're going to push that stack of books out with your belly on your inhale. So belly goes out, and so do the books in turn go up. Now here's the trick. Typically when we would think about exhaling or releasing that breath, we would imagine that the stack of books would go down. However, when we sing, we don't want that stack of books to go down. We actually want that stack of books to stay up. Which at first might seem impossible, but I would challenge you to get down on the floor and see if you can give it a try. So we want books out, flexed abdominal muscles stay there while we draw in breath. And then we in turn release the breath outwards. And the entire time, that abdominal wall stays flexed out and those books stay raised. So give it a try and see what happens for you. So that's a little bit of instruction that I want you to begin to practice. A couple of very physical things that you can do lying down and experimenting with breath on the floor, and just practicing that open, breathe in and breathe out, and make sure that it's 3 separate steps exercise. And if you need to do the part of it until you can get used to it, go ahead and give that a try. Then I'm going to include this week in separate videos, one for women and one for men, some warm-up exercises with no instruction, just one right after the other, that all will challenge you to use the techniques that we are talking about here in order to produce sound. So I look forward to seeing your lessons.